Hi, welcome back to another edition of History in Your Own Backyard. Today we're in Glendale, Ohio at the site of the former Cincinnati and Hamilton Turnpike. Today we're here with Jack Busher, a local historian. Hi Jack, how are you today?
Hi, I'm doing great.
Well, thanks for meeting us here at the Turnpike.
Glad to be here.
Thank you. What can you tell us here about the Turnpike?
Well, try to imagine this. This busy highway was once a deer trail and later became a footpath. Then it became a military highway because we had Fort Washington in downtown Cincinnati, renamed from Lusantaville. Cincinnati was founded in 1788. And then the settlers started pushing north. So they put in a fort in Hamilton, Ohio.
Oh, really?
And so the idea was to connect the two. And so as time went on, this deer path was cleared of all the trees and brush, et cetera, to about 10 feet wide.
Okay.
To make it a usable thoroughfare. Mm-hmm. Later on, of course, it was widened out. So it was essentially a military conveyance for up until about 1817, when finally enough traffic demanded that they improve the highway. So, of course, in the American tradition, with money as the object, the Cincinnati-Hamilton Turnpike Association was formed. They wanted to raise, and they did, raise $100,000, and they sold shares for $25 apiece. And they started working on the highway, so improving it, widening it in the boggy areas. What they did was there's a method that's called corduroy. And so what they would do is they would chop down trees and split them and then lay them in over the marshy parts to give the road some substance. And of course then they'd fill in as much as possible to make it smooth. But that's what we had there, and so right here is where there was a toll booth.
Oh, really?
There was a toll booth with a gate, had a gate, and so the idea was you could bring your horse up here, and at the toll gate you would have to pay accordingly. And so if you had, depending upon your vehicle, even if you were walking. If you were walking from here to Hamilton, I think it cost you a nickel.
Really?
Well, hey, they had to pay off. They have to pay off the road. Now, directly behind me, we have the Century Inn. It's now known as the Century Inn.
Okay.
But this was a halfway point and was built in 1806. So the idea was, first off, it took 2 days to go from Cincinnati to Hamilton.
Wow.
2 days, that's a long haul. And with an overnight stay. So the idea was you could come up from Cincinnati, you could stay at the old tavern here, and then get fresh horses from their stable. They had a stable.
Okay.
And proceed to Hamilton. And the same thing on the way back. And of course you could have, a meal, a refreshment. As they collected the money, they paid off their loans and things like that. So I'm not sure when the Turnpike became a state entity. But at some point or another, and I'm thinking, maybe, the 1910 or something like that, the state took over maintenance of it, and I guess they dissolved. And they probably had to even buy the interest of the association. So, but try to imagine there'd be a guy sitting here all day long. Oh, you're walking to Hamilton today?
Yeah.
That'll be a nickel. So, and so this was a kind of a starting and ending point.
Do you know of anyone famous that would have stopped by here at the Turnpike?
Well, Johnny Appleseed.
Oh.
His name was John Chapman, and of course, American legend revolves around Johnny Appleseed, who was supposed to have, traveled around with a cooking pot on his head, and he sold seeds. That's what he did. But he used to go to camp meetings, which were just up the way. They had like revivals and camp meetings, and he was a member of the Swedenborgian sect, and they had these gatherings up there. Well, Mad Anthony Wayne, of course, had to be traversing this area because this, at one point, was known as the Wayne Highway. Well, before it became the Turnpike.
Yeah. Thanks for watching another edition of History in Your Own Backyard. Today we were in Glendale, Ohio at the former Cincinnati and Hamilton Turnpike. Remember,
Travel slowly and stop often.
Bye.
Goodbye.